By the way, when's the last time you saw green eggs and ham? Huh? I do not like them with a box. I do not like them with a fox. I do not like them, Sam, I am. We're talking about reading and your kids and the mental development, particularly in the summertime when the kids are not in school and they're out there playing. Do they really pick up a book? Well, chances are probably not. Dr. Marsha Spitzer is here from the American Academy of Pediatrics. You are a pediatrician. Good morning.
Good morning.
And you work in the Barrio Logan area.
I do. I work for Family Health Centers of San Diego.
Very good. So you have brought books in, and you have obviously done research about reading and development of children and things like that. In the summertime, basically, reading goes dark.
Well, it can. I mean, there's not the required reading that children have in school, but particularly as a pediatrician, we focus on children reading even at a younger age, even before school age. And certainly families can promote reading by having books available, taking children to the library, and modeling it by reading themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us about, I mean, some of the numbers that I read here are kind of shocking in terms of how much our kids are or are not reading every single day.
Right, and that's true. I mean, definitely children read more when they're in school and when they're school age, and those numbers do go down when children are getting older, when they're teens, and certainly as an adult. Sadly, we don't read as much as probably our kindergarten teachers wish we were at this point. But what we know is by starting young with children and by encouraging early literacy, by sitting children on your lap and sharing a book for 5–10 minutes each day, those children are not only learning words, learning verbal associations, those very plastic parts of the brain that are constantly developing the first few years of life are starting to make those connections. And there's that wonderful experience for the parent of having the child in your lap, just like you were reading Green Eggs and Ham, to snuggle together. That not only nurtures the child's brain and the child's verbal development, but also nurtures their social development and their emotional development and their tie with their parent.
Yeah, and that bonding that you get.
Exactly.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of people, I know with my son, we read to him just from day one.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, we had the whole library of Dr. Seuss and the whole thing. And I've heard that you can actually start reading in the womb, that the child can actually respond that early.
Sure, and you know, children can hear voices when they're in the womb, and that's kind of the whole idea, is hearing the verbal word or hearing the spoken word. And part of the reason why this is so important, and it's for all families, but particularly some of the American Academy of Pediatrics focus now is on families in lower income areas, is that there's research that shows by age 4, a child in a lower income family has learned or heard 30 million fewer words spoken to them than a child in a more affluent family. And so it's incredibly important that people of all economic walks of life start talking to their children young, and this is something that you don't need a fancy anything to do. You don't need a computer, you don't need a tablet. Just talking to your child while they're in the womb and then beyond helps them hear more words, and that translates into kindergarten readiness, literacy, and future success.
Absolutely. And you know, when you think of reading, you know, you think of maybe more complex books, but when you start with the Green Eggs and Ham, this really plants the seed, doesn't it?
It does, it does. And you know, another example is the Eric Carle books like Very Hungry Caterpillar. When you give this to a 12-month-old, I mean, they're seeing the colors, they're learning to turn pages. You can point out, wow, there's the sun, there's the fun little part with the, you know, on Monday, the little caterpillar ate through an apple, but he was still hungry. They can use their fingers to turn the pages. So these are not Shakespeare, you know, plays. These are not major novels. No. These are what children want to look at. They want to look at things that are colorful, and things that rhyme, things that are fun.
And they're fun for the adults too, by the way.
Exactly.
I remember. And you have one in Spanish.
Yep. This is Buenas Noches Luna, which is Good Night Moon, which is just a beautiful bedtime story. It has some rhyming, and it just helps to kind of relax a child at the end of the day. And I've read this one to my children in English and Spanish, and it helps me relax at the end of the day too, because it's just a nice, calming story.
It really is. And I was thinking, you know, for the English-speaking, like you said, English-speaking kids, it helps to read a little Spanish to them, so they're exposed to Spanish.
Sure.
And so they know that, and vice versa. Spanish-speaking kids are exposed to English.
Exactly, and in our Reach Out and Read program that we do, you know, we try to give books in a language that the family speaks at home. Both, you know, it's nice to do both languages, but also because it helps with the parent being more inclined to read the book if it's in a language that they're comfortable in, especially if their own literacy level is not as high as they might want.
Well, Doctor, thank you so much. Great
you.
reminders here, and obviously the earlier we read, the more we read, the better our kids are prepared.
Exactly.
Period.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.